Hello and welcome to Geek History Lesson. I'm Jason Inman.
I am Ashley Victoria Robinson. Welcome to your Mind University, because you have stumbled upon the podcast where we take one character, construct, team, or concept from popular culture and teach you everything about it in about an hour, except when we don't.
Yes, this is one of our special episodes. This is an episode that has been requested quite a lot, actually. And we are doing this in honor of, you might have heard this little thing called DC Rebirth. DC has been rebirthing all of their heroes into newer concepts, new books. And this week, Justice League Rebirth comes out, written by Brian Hitch.
Yeah.
And I believe he drew the first issue as well. And then the regular series is going to be drawn by Tony Daniel.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so he wrote and drawn, very nice gentleman, very great guy. This episode, so in honor of Justice League Rebirth, we're going to talk about the best Justice League ever. Now, if you're a long-time listener of this show, we have done this several times with many different teams. We did best X-Men team ever. We did the best Avengers team ever, best Star Trek crew, best Fantastic Four ever. We're running out of the best evers.
We're not.
Okay, we're not running out of the best evers. There are plenty more left to pick up in the show. So if you know that we give little caveats for us to fill, and then we get to choose who we want to pick. And I just want to shout out, because this episode was requested by some people with some interesting names. Horse-Drawn Tank, 00 Jules, and that's Jelwes, at Mr. Dev 3 Row, and the Sith Citizen. All those Geek History Lesson listeners requested best Justice League ever.
Wow, what must their birth certificates look like?
Very confusing. Okay, here we go. Let's run right into our best Justice League ever discussion. Now, we had some rules, Ashley, didn't we?
We did have some rules.
Well, you want to go ahead and tell us what the first one was?
The first rule was that we had to have only one member of the Trinity on our team.
Now, what is the Trinity?
The
Ashley?
Trinity are the three most iconic DC Comics characters: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Only one.
Only one.
And as we go through each of these rules, everybody, I want you to head over to our social media at facebook.com/Geek History Lesson and geekhistorylesson.com and tell us, what would your best Justice League team ever? I want to hear what your team are using our rule. So rule number 1, you can only have one member of the Trinity.
Yes.
Rule number 2, you must have an alien on your team.
The Justice League faces down with aliens a lot. It is nothing but an asset to have an alien at bear.
Now, that doesn't preclude that you must include Superman. There are plenty of other aliens in the DC universe, okay? And then also, as we get through the roles that you must fill, we, of course, always have a rookie and a wild card member on our team. We'll explain those in a second. And both of those roles must not be filled by a member who has been on the Justice League before. In comics continuity, the cartoon doesn't count.
Yes.
And if that member, that rookie or wild card, has been on the Justice Society of America, that is fine, because it's sort of a training ground.
Yes.
All right. So let's jump through our roles.
Okay.
And then we'll go back through them and we'll tell who were our picks. So Ashley, what were the roles that we said we had to fill?
We must have a leader.
Okay.
We must have a strategist, who is usually the second in command.
The lieutenant, yes.
We must have a muscle,
Yep.
a strong character. We must have a tech character. We must have a rookie, a space or alien character. We must have an outsider, and we must have a wild card.
Plus any extras that you feel. Like if you feel like, because sometimes the Justice League is 15 members big, sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 7.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you need to have a character that fits each of those roles, each of those archetypes. And again, remember, only one member of the Trinity, you must have an alien, and then you must have your outsider and your rookie cannot have been on the Justice League before.
Yes.
All right, so let's jump right into this. Ashley, who is the leader of your Justice League?
The leader of my Justice League is my Trinity member, which I think is probably an obvious choice. It is the one, the only, the lady, the Wonder Woman.
Okay, why did you go with Wonder Woman?
Well, I'm really into Wonder Woman right now, and if you are familiar with these lessons, I have picked characters that I like.
Okay.
And I really like Diana Prince, and I think that she doesn't get a ton of opportunity to lead the Justice League, even though I would say that arguably she is the person who is best trained to lead the Justice League. She's a strategist. She's worked in a bunch of combat situations before she came to the Justice League. She loves our planet in a very unique way. And I think that she could kick the snot out of anybody who might get too uppity.
Great.
That is why she is my leader. How about you?
My leader is also my one Trinity member, and I also picked Wonder Woman.
Heck yeah.
Because I wanted an immortal leader. I thought it seemed too obvious to make it Batman.
Yeah.
I also stayed away from Superman and Batman because Superman and Batman throughout League history have kind of shied away from the League. Like, there was a whole period in the early 90s and the early 80s where Superman and Batman were honorary members of the League. They weren't full-time members of the League. So I kind of wanted my team member, and I've said this several times in the podcast before, I love Wonder Woman, but I also think that Wonder Woman works best when she's in the Justice League and not a solo member. You know, she kind of had that thing like we talked about with Captain America. Like, I think they're stronger when they're with the team than when they're separate. And
right. And there are obvious exceptions to be made.
And also, Wonder Woman is kind of an immoral character that I kind of feel has led many armies against, like, all kinds of supernatural threats and things like that. So, like, she was my leader because I just think that she helps me make the strongest team.
It would be difficult to surprise Wonder Woman with anything.
Yes. And I kind of think she keeps her cool because she's bred for combat. And I also think that you'll notice in my other choices that I sort of feel I kind of checkmark my Superman and Batman boxes in other ways.
I think I do that as well.
Yeah, there is a representative of the Superman family and the Batman family also on my teams.
Interesting. I definitely thought you were going to go Superman for your leader. So I think it's interesting that we both went 1D.
We went Wonder Woman. I think because, again, she probably is the strongest leader. I also think it's interesting that we made our Trinity the leader. Like, we both agreed that there was not a stronger DC character to be the leader of the Justice League.
Well, as I reveal the rest of my list, they're definitely not all young characters, but they're all less experienced than Wonder Woman. Like, she's the obvious choice for a leader.
Yeah, mine's an eclectic team. I don't think anybody's going to predict my team. I mean, I'm the guy that put Devil Dinosaur on the best X-Men team ever. So
yeah,
let's find out. Okay, so let's move on into the next role, the strategist / lieutenant. Who is your lieutenant, your second in command, and also strategist to Wonder Woman?
So I took the idea of them being a lieutenant very, very seriously. I wanted this to be a character that was going to step up and fill either the Batman or the Superman role. And I wanted it to be somebody that Justice Leaguers would follow and wouldn't look at as like, oh, that's a kid or that's an inexperienced character.
Interesting.
So I picked Nightwing, Dick Grayson, because he has led the Justice League before.
Yes.
Superman, arguably the most powerful being in the DC universe.
You're using my argument against me.
I totally am. And then you've heard Jason make it here before, so I don't feel bad co-opting it. Superman falls in line behind Nightwing, so everybody else will. Plus, I think that from a writing standpoint, having him be not subservient, but a step below Diana would be really funny.
Okay.
But I think
you think Dick tries to flirt with Wonder Woman?
Oh, totally.
Okay, got it.
Totally. And she puts him down.
Oh, real quick.
But she likes him enough that she knows it's a game, so she won't smack him around.
Yeah, she's almost his mom.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, but she's his hot mom.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So he'll still try it. I just think that would make a really interesting power dynamic. And I do think that Dick respects her enough that when it's not time for joking, that he will do what she tells him to do.
Got it.
So yes, there's my Batman. There is my Nightwing.
Nice. Okay.
Who's your strategist / second in command?
Well, I will tell you that I feel that I needed a Batman on this team.
Ha 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 ha.
And I went for an interesting choice for my Batman because I like Nightwing. Love Nightwing. He's my favorite comic book character. Nightwing is not on my Justice League.
I'm surprised by that.
I am surprised. I did think about him. I'll talk about him more. But for me, Nightwing is his own man, also a Titan.
Yes.
More so than a Justice League member.
Sure. That's a fair argument.
There is a Batman character who's a little young, has been a member of the Justice League, and has led the Justice League. And his name is also Batman. He's Batman Beyond Terry McGinnis.
Yes.
He trained by Batman, has led the Justice League Beyond. He has a futuristic suit. I think, for me, and kind of the way I put this Batman team together, I wanted a Batman in the strategist role, but I didn't want to give to Batman. I didn't want to give to Nightwing. I put Batman Beyond because Terry is very much a Batman that embraces will. Mm-hmm. He makes things happen by sheer force of will. And when he first joins the Justice League in the future, he's picked by Superman, who is still Clark Kent, to join the Justice League. So he's Superman's choice. But then when Superman leaves, he gives leadership of the Justice League to Terry because he's trained by Bruce Wayne. And I always feel that Terry had more free will to do what he wanted with the role than like Dick Grayson or any of the other Robins.
Definitely, because he is he's still living in Bruce Wayne's shadow. Yes. They all are, but because he comes so much later, and I think because Bruce has all of the experience of all the Robins and all the Batgirls under his wing, for lack of a better phrase. I think that he's willing to give Terry the most leeway, having learned from maybe some past mistakes.
Yeah, and I just think that he would have an interesting dynamic with them. He would also have an interesting dynamic with the rest of the team because he would know some of these team members' deaths.
Yes.
And when they died and when they wouldn't. Because if you don't think Batman told him when every member of the Justice League died, or that's not in his suit's computer, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Batman has all that information in there. I also wanted to say, I forgot to tell earlier on that I'm calling my team the Olympian Justice League because I'm basing mine off of Grant Morrison's ideas of the Justice League, that he always felt that the Justice League should have allusions to the pantheon of Greek gods.
Interesting.
And so I'm sort of basing mine takes some steps away from that, but like, so Wonder Woman, Batman Beyond is my quote unquote Hades. So in this thing, but I think Batman Beyond because I wanted a Batman on this team.
I would call mine Justice League International because I have a diverse team, both in the real world sense of our nationalities and our countries and in the fictional DC sense. And I just like the way JLI sounds.
Nice, cool. All right, so let's move on to our muscle, our strong man. And that could be however you want to interpret this. Who is the muscle of your Justice League? Who joins Nightwing and Wonder Woman?
Okay, so this is always the hardest one for me because...
The muscle?
The muscle, always.
Okay.
Because I build mine on characters that I like, and the characters that I like are usually like sort of sad and cerebral, so they don't usually fit into this role very easily, even if they are superheroes.
Got it.
So I sat down and I thought about like who is a physically imposing character. And then I thought, I would like to include as many ladies as possible in this team.
Okay.
Which, if Wonder Woman is your leader, for me
Power
leaves
Girl?
No, mine are all from the same universe.
All right.
Leaves a clear choice in Big Barda. Because I think Big Barda is a criminally underrated character. I think the New God story is super interesting. And I think that she would follow Wonder Woman really, really well.
She was a member of Grant Morrison's Justice League, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, she is trained and bred in a warrior culture.
Yeah, totally.
That is everything that she is designed to do. So I think that for her to come under the leadership of an Amazon would be very much a natural choice for her. And she could be like your berserker, like in the heat of battle, when you really, really want to punch the enemy in the gut, that's when you let Big Barda come out. And again, if you have...
Big Barda for punching people in the gut.
Heck yeah. And again, with Dick Grayson around, Big Barda is tall and Big Barda is sexy. It's going to be really funny.
You are putting Dick Grayson in the middle of a lady minefield.
I am. There's my team is skews feminist.
Okay, that's great.
I have more ladies than not ladies. And I think that right now in the current DC continuity, I think that the New Gods characters are primed to have really cool new appearances and be folded more into the current continuity. And so I think that she would be a really touchstone, easy way to introduce people to like some of the crazier aspects of the New Gods. Mm-hmm. And she'd be good in space. We have space concerns.
Great.
How about you? Who's your muscle?
Well, my muscle is not typically a strong man, but let's just say he has energy blasts. But he also has superhuman strength. He also is not originally a DC character.
Ooh.
My character comes from the Wildcats. My character is Spartan, the leader of the Wildcats.
I see your Olympian theme bleeding through here.
Yeah. He has red hair, blue and red costume. I think I've always loved his Jim Lee design. He's an android. Okay. And he's super smart and he's super strong. I also think he would get along very well with Wonder Woman and Batman Beyond. I think he would kind of lean towards them. But I kind of put him on this team because I really think the Wildcats aren't featured enough. I think he would bring an interesting dynamic as his own leader of the team, that there would be some times that he would conflict against Wonder Woman. But in my version of the Justice League, the Olympians, I kind of feel that he would be the money because we're missing Bruce Wayne.
Interesting.
And
very interesting.
He owns the Halo Corporation. So he could fund the entire Justice League himself. And I also just think that having this very, very strong android, you could do a lot of interesting stories with it. I also think Spartan is a great character that's been missing from the New 52. That's one of my biggest complaints about the New 52 is that we have these great Wildstorm characters, these Jim Lee characters that are in the DC universe now, and we haven't seen them.
Right. Kind of like the New Gods, I would say. Like they're begging to be folded into what is going on right now, and there are great places to insert them, but it hasn't happened yet.
But Spartan, from the Wildcats, is my muscle. Again, as I said, I guarantee you, nobody would have ever predicted that I put him on this team.
I certainly would not have.
So there you go. Let's move on to the tech, which is probably where most people would have been like, why didn't you put Spartan there? Oh, I have a better character for that. Actually, who is your tech person for the Justice League?
I feel like my tech person is probably the most obvious choice, but sometimes the most obvious choice is the best choice, and sometimes the most obvious choice is a character that Ashley really likes, and so it basically does the decision making for me.
Got it.
So I went with Cyborg. Because I really love Vic Stone. I love the Teen Titans, and that's obviously where he comes from. But since the New 52, he has been a standing member of the Justice League.
A founding member.
And
he will be in the movieverse.
Yes. He brings some much needed Earth-based diversity to the cast. He brings some youth to the cast. He would be a contemporary of Nightwing, so he can put Nightwing in his place when he gets a little worked up around the ladies. And I like the idea that my tech-based character is somebody who can literally plug in. Now, that, of course, can have some ramifications coming back in that you could hack Cyborg if you're a baddie, and that could have some not-so-nice things happening at headquarters or whatever. But I like the idea that Cyborg can directly interface with any tech problem that he may encounter. So that's why I picked Cyborg, and because he looks so cool.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not want him around?
Interesting.
Yeah. How about you? Who is your techie master?
Cyborg is not on my Justice League. I'm just saying that right out. So I'm sorry, Cyborg, but I did not include you on here. My tech analog, or my tech archetype, I should say, is actually my Superman analog.
Oh.
He is an African-American character that I don't think gets enough justice in the DC universe, and I was really sad when I didn't see him anywhere in the Rebirth. I'm talking about Steel.
I knew it as soon as you said that.
John Henry Irons, one of the 4 Superman that were created by multiple Superman writers after the reign of Superman, the death of Superman, one of the presence. He has one of the coolest looks ever. He's basically Iron Superman, if you want to take an analog. He has been in the Justice League before. He was a member when Grant Morrison was a member. He can rebuild anything. He's super smart. And for me, he would kind of be... a little bit of his storyline would be for me trying to get Terry back to the future. Like that's a thing. That's a thing that I really want. Like for me, the Olympians form because Terry gets stuck in the present, and this team sort of forms to get Terry back to the future.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh man, I got stuck in this timeline. I know about a bunch of terrible stuff that's going to happen.
It's your kids, Terry. Your kids.
It's your kids. It's your kids. John Henry Irons. It's your kids. Like it's that. But John Henry Irons again. He is a genius character. He got some great beats in the New 52 because they partnered him up with Lana Lang. I don't know if I like that so much. I do like New 52 John Henry Irons a lot better. He's a very smart character, inspired by Superman. He is my tech master.
Cool. Very cool
choice. There you go. Now we're going to move into the rookie, a person that cannot be a member of the Justice League ever before, but can be a member of the JSA. Ashley, who is your rookie youngin' character?
My rookie youngin' has in fact been a member of the Justice Society of America.
Interesting. I think I know who you're going with.
I think you probably do too. I picked Stargirl because...
Now let me throw a caveat at you real quickly here.
Yeah.
kind of a member of Justice League Canada.
Kind of.
But Justice League Canada wasn't really a team, sort of.
Wasn't officially a team.
I'll give you a pass on that one, but I'm just,
They were tacitly.
Yeah.
I actually have two characters who are kind of cheats. Her and someone else.
Okay.
But I think that Courtney's a really interesting character with a really good look. And I think that since they've matured her post her solo series, she's become a really, really fascinating character, and she's become a really worthwhile heroine to have, a worthwhile successor
Totally.
to Starman.
Great representation of the legacy.
Exactly. And I think that having her around means that you have the resource of her predecessors, which I think would be very very interesting to tap into. I think that she's probably my youngest member, so she'll bring some youth and some interpersonal conflict there. But if I'm having two women in very powerful leadership roles, I wanted my rookie to be a girl who could look up to them. Mm-hmm. And I think that more than Supergirl, Stargirl is really primed to have a strong female role model because she has two strong male role models, and that Diana would be a great male role model for her. And I like that she could fly around and take care of herself in space because when we were addressing building these teams, them being able to function in space was a concern.
Yeah.
So
they fight a lot of aliens.
I just really like her.
That's not like that.
And she's like 13.
Cool.
So yeah, Stargirl is my rookie. How about you?
My rookie is based around one rule. I feel when you are creating a Justice League, you need a speedster. You cannot have a Justice League without a speedster.
Well, I do.
And, if you're Ashley, you can. But I also feel that you cannot have a Justice League without a Flash. Now, my character is not technically a rookie. She was a member of the Justice Society of America, but she's a rookie to what I'm going to call the big leagues. She's never had her own solo series. She's never been a member of the Justice League. I am talking about Jessie Quick.
Yes.
Now, Jessie Quick is a little bit different because she is the union of two Justice Society of America, Jessie Quick himself, and then, or Johnny Quick, I'm sorry, and then Liberty Bell.
Yes.
And she has inherited powers from both parents. So she is a speedster with superhuman strength.
That's cool.
So as being on part of the Justice League, she is like Hermes to the ultimate degree. She's Hermes combined with Hercules. And again, she's kind of nervous. She's married to Rick Tyler, our man. Now, I would not have him. He's not on my team.
How young are you having her be?
Jessie's she's like 25.
Okay.
So she's like in her mid 20s.
Okay.
So she's been around the block, but she hasn't,
Yeah, not in the big leagues. I was just curious.
It's also a storyline in the comic books that Jessie is never 100% certain about her powers. And like I said, she's married to Rick Tyler, the current Our Man. I would not have him part of the team, but I would eventually have him join the team, would be my idea.
Right, so you'd have him as an ancillary character starting out.
Because it's
who she's talking to.
Exactly, because if his wife is on the team, because I would love to have this like idea where she gets picked and she's like, no, I'm not going to enjoy unless you pick Rick, and he's just like, no, do it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I would go with that. But I wanted a Flash. She has been the Flash before. Wally West back in the day picked her to be Flash, and she keeps losing her powers. I wanted her to join a team where she could gain her confidence as a speedster, because that's something that I think her character has always lacked.
I really like that.
And I think Wonder Woman and all these men before her, because if you notice, she's the first member of this team that has a confidence problem. The rest, even Terry McGinnis, who is, in my book, maybe 19.
Yeah.
And I'm going Terry McGinnis about to become an adult.
Okay.
So he's been Batman Beyond for about 4 years now. So he's not a rookie anymore.
Yeah.
He's been around the block.
He knows what he's doing.
But he's still a kid.
Yeah.
He's not the older Terry McGinnis that we saw in the Justice League cartoon.
Okay.
He's not there yet. He'll get there. He'll get there because of this arc. But they all have confidence. And I think that they're a team that can give that to Jessie.
I like that.
Yeah, and also Jessie would, who she's took on administrative roles for the Justice Society of America before, and so as soon as she joins my team, she's going to get a salary and a full job from the Halo Corporation.
Nice.
And she will become like sort of the team's accountant and make sure that everybody on the team gets paid.
Ah, very smart.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that you give her function on 2 different levels.
Yeah, that's right. All right, now we're going to move into our space/alien character. Doesn't mean that this character has to be an alien, but, you know, we said earlier in the rules that you have to have an alien in this team, so that might be the best place to put him. Ashley, who is your space/alien character?
Well, they are an alien character, and their power set is space-based, so I feel like I hit both of these nails on the head. I have picked the Green Lantern, Saronic Natu.
Saronic Natu?
Yes.
The daughter of Sinestro?
Yes, but she's a doctor.
Mm-hmm. She is.
Okay, so she's an alien, so she fills that criteria. Mm-hmm. She's a Green Lantern.
Yeah, like I say, so she's a Yellow Lantern right now.
But she's a Green Lantern.
You're making her a Green Lantern.
Got in my story.
Got it.
In
your
the
heart.
Ashley V. Robinson Justice League International
Ashley's
story.
heart.
She's a Green Lantern.
Got it.
The action figure I have of her is a Green Lantern.
Okay, I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes, I know she's currently a Yellow Lantern, but I would make her a Green Lantern because that would just be easier as far as your good guy analogs go.
I'm fine with that.
So she is a character with space-based powers. She's an alien character, and she's a doctor.
Yeah.
So
it's an interesting role to fill.
So regardless of how much healing factor people have, how much training people have, having a doctor around when you're facing international and intergalactic threats is nothing to sniff at. And then having them be a Green Lantern, they can make any constructs they need when they're helping you, I think is a double whammy of effectiveness. I like her because she was involved with Kyle Rayner for quite some time, so I know that she can handle herself around flirty, cute guys. So she'll keep Nightwing in his place.
Another buffet for Nightwing. And he's like, hey, baby, I've already slept with an alien woman. Whoa.
Yeah, and she was part cat, so maybe a little more pink than she was. And I just mentioned how pink she is. Saronic Natu has a really cool look.
Yeah.
So on the covers of all my issues, we would get that X-Men pink color.
Oh, would this be a lead up to Sinestro possibly fighting your Justice League?
I would think that that's probably a safe assumption.
Okay, got it.
And she'll put Daddy in the corner and everything will work out in the end because good guys always win.
Okay.
But yeah, Saronic Natu as well, I feel like is a character who, like, yeah, she's a Yellow Lantern, but she's I feel like she's been shunted off to being a Yellow Lantern. So I would like to be able to highlight what is really great about her as a character. Who is your space and or alien character?
My space/alien character is also an alien. And
good job.
Yep, fills in the role. We stuck to our rules very literally this time. I feel there is no Justice League without this character. So I'm sorry, Cyborg. Martian Manhunter is always on my Justice League.
I do love Martian Manhunter.
Martian Manhunter, John Jones, the green shape-shifting alien, of course, in the Justice League cartoon. Sadly missing from the Justice League movie. Who knows when he'll ever show up. I hope that he'll be the connective tissue of the universe. We'll find out that he's been in every movie and we just didn't realize it. Mm-hmm. Martian Manhunter is the strength of Superman. He has telepathy, and he immediately connects you an alien outsider perspective to everything. I thought it was one of the most interesting things about the New 52 when they put him on Stormwatch. Mm-hmm. And I thought that series didn't live to its potential. But I thought Martian Manhunter being on Stormwatch made so much sense. It was so smart. And I think that this Justice League for me is more Stormwatchy, I think, than a normal Justice League. Mm-hmm. But
that's okay, though.
Martian Manhunter is great in that respect. Like, he fits every role, and there is no Justice League for me if you don't have Martian Manhunter. I'm sorry, that's just it. Martian Manhunter,
okay.
Alien character. All right, now we're gonna move to the outsider. The outsider character, a person who technically doesn't really belong in the Justice League, maybe doesn't really believe in what the Justice League's doing, but is part of the team.
So my outsider actually has been on a Justice League before.
That's totally fine. We didn't say that up before.
Right. But He kind of is the antithesis of everything that a hero on the Justice League should be.
Can I make a guess?
You can make a guess.
Ambush Bug.
No.
Okay.
Ambush Bug will never be on my team. But he does.
Don't listen, Ambush Bug.
When I make no apologies, Ambush Bug. Don't tweet at me. When the going gets tough, this character can get it done.
The Energizer Bunny.
I wish. It is. I would say he has about that much charisma. It is the one, the only. Booster Gold.
Booster Gold?
Because
oh my God.
I love Booster Gold.
Now, why do you classify him as an outsider? I'm sorry.
I classify him as an outsider because I feel like none of the quote, like legitimate hardcore superheroes want Booster Gold around because everybody really buys into that persona of like, I'm the jerk from the future. I am the like sponsorship superhero. And there's definitely that. And that is something that I think makes Booster fun and funny.
And would you treat him like the Jeff Johns run? Like where he's actually legit, but
yes.
But on the surface he's a joke?
Yes, I would. And I would have Big Bardo as the outsider character.
Yeah.
Like as you know, like cuz not the outsider, but like she's the muscle, but she would be the one who I think would have the least relationship with him so that you could have him needing to prove himself. And I do think that even though like Wonder Woman and Nightwing should know that he can hold his own, I feel like still, when things get really bad, they're just going to be like, can you just wait over there and we'll sort this out?
Well, I'm going to give you a little twist.
Please.
Dick Grayson knows Booster's real mission.
Yes.
There's only two people in the universe that do.
That's true.
And it's Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson.
All right, then now I'm rewriting it. I'm rewriting my pitch.
So
Dick Grayson is the reason
why
that
he's on
Booster
there.
Gold is on this team.
Exactly.
You're a great editor. I really appreciate the notes that you've been sending me while I've been developing this.
I'm sorry, but there's somebody else you should put on your team. That's Ambush Bug.
No. He can be on my... Okay, Ambush Bug, reserve Justice League International member.
Okay.
And Booster Gold would be the only member of my team who has previously been on the Justice League International.
That's right. And you really want to keep that international flavor.
I do.
Even though you don't have much of an international team. I'm just throwing that out there. You get a lot of whiteys out there.
Wait till you meet... I have an African-American character. Wait till you meet...
American. Just throwing that out there.
Wait till you meet my wild card.
Okay. They're going to be the entirety of your international. Okay.
They are international. Right. I just like the title, Justice League.
I know. I'd say it's fine. It's fine. But yes, I just gave you a story reason for why Booster Gold is there.
Thank you.
There you go.
So now tell me about your outsider and I'll give you some story notes.
My outsider character doesn't need any story notes because she is literally from another planet in the multiverse. She is not from the Prime Earth. And as you notice, we're going to have two young characters that are both lost from their original home. And it's going to be about them. They're going to be the heart and soul of this team. The reason why she's an outsider is because she's Rocket, Raquel Irvin of the Milestone universe.
Oh, that's a really great choice.
Yep. She is a great character with a lot of tenacity. She has kinetic energy manipulation. And to me, she is the Robin of the Milestone universe. I really wanted somebody that would have some attitude. Now, I gave the attitude my outsider because my wild card, as you're going to find out, is a wild card because his powers are uncertain. Now, the outsider, I really wanted her to like... Rocket is a character that would tell Wonder Woman to get out of her face and walk away. And Wonder Woman would just be like, did she actually talk to me like that? Like, I can't really be mad at her because she's 19, but I kind of want to punch her in the face. But also Rocket would be the person that would, if say they flew to Markovia, which is a popular country to many DC teams, as we learned last week.
Yes.
She would go to Markovia and tell the king of Markovia to shut up, sit down, and let her fix the problem. Because she is, again, the Robin of the Milestone universe. I wanted another woman of color. And when I thought about it, I was like, man, Rocket is another character. If you notice, too, I'm saving a lot of these characters that have been combined into the DC universe, but they haven't really done it. Rocket's in the New 52.
Yeah.
And they haven't done anything with her.
Right. And Milestone is supposed to be being revamped.
Yes. But and I know it's like there's like creative juices and
totally
legalities, stuff like that. But Rocket was my chance to rescue a piece of the Milestone universe, which is a universe that I really, really love. And I think it's a great universe, just like the Wildstorm universe. And I really would love to see those characters interact with Justice League. Rocket, I think, just like Jesse Quick, would get some amazing lessons from Wonder Woman. And also, that way I can get a little Terry McGinnis Rocket romance going on.
Ooh, cute.
Because I think they would fall in love because Rocket is very much like Dana from Batman Beyond, which is Terry's future wife.
I ship that. That's cool.
Yeah. So let's move into the last position, unless we have extras, which we'll get there. Who is your wild card? A person who could not have been a member of the Justice League previously.
Okay, so this is a cheat because this character is on the Rebirth Justice League, but they'd never been on a Justice League previous to
All right,
that.
so since that book is just now coming out, I will give you this one. But I think it's interesting that both of our characters that we were like, you can't have a member of the Justice League, they've both been members of the Justice League.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing that out to you.
This is a character that I was really excited about when he was first introduced. And I think he was a very interesting construct.
Ooh, can I have a guess?
And I think hasn't been used to his advantage. You can make a guess.
Chip.
No, but you got it right with the Green Lantern of it all. My wild card is Simon Baz.
I find it interesting you put 2 Green Lanterns on your team.
I did, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
Because I wanted Stronach not to because we needed an alien, and I wanted her because she's
2 aliens. No, we have 1 alien.
Well, Big Barda is technically an alien.
Oh yeah, she's totally an alien.
And I mean, some people think that Amazons are aliens. So
no. We're disavowing that right now.
And I wanted Simon Baz for the Green Lantern of it all.
Got it.
And I mean, obviously, he's a great...
You're doubling down on the lanterns.
Strive toward diversity. Yes, and because Stronach Natu is sometimes a Yellow Lantern, if that ever started to happen, or if there was ever an attack on them by a Lantern Corps, I felt like with 2 lanterns, they could stand a chance. And Simon Baz is someone who I think has a lot of misplaced aggression, and that he could team up with Big Barda in a way that he could harness that in a useful manner. And I think that his involvement on a team that has aliens and has Amazons could make his constructs bigger and more interesting, because I find Simon's constructs are, I'm gonna use this word that is now an internet word, and it's unfortunate, but they're sort of basic.
Interesting.
And I think that this being a part of a Justice League team would give him a chance to grow as a lantern.
Yes.
And so that's
Which
why...
is something I think they're probably going to do in the Rebirth series.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But I didn't feel right putting him as the rookie, because I think he has enough confidence.
Yes, I agree with you. He's, even though in the new series Green Lanterns they're treating him and Jessica Cruz as rookies, he does have more experience because he's been around for like 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
And he's been a member of a Justice League.
And yes, and he's trained with Hal
He actually
Jordan.
was a member of Justice League of America, so I'm just letting you know that you cheated on both those choices.
He's a really good choice.
I'm fine with it. Simon Baz. I love his costume.
Simon Baz. Yes. I think you have an action figure of him.
I do.
There you go. So yeah, who's your wild card? Are you cheating?
No, I am not. My character has never been a member of the Justice League, but also a member of the Justice Society of America. Now, this character, I guarantee you'll never predict.
Well, you've done a really good job at that so far. I
have a special fondness for an old Vertigo series written by Stephen T. Siegel. It is about the hero who taught this hero who I'm going to have on Justice League. And I have a lot of fondness for that, and that is bleeding through to my choice. Now, the reason why Sand, a.k.a. the Sandman, Sandy Hawkins...
Okay.
He earned the title of the Sandman.
No, I know.
So Sand was the sidekick, Goldie, to Sandman. And the title I was talking about was Sandman Mystery Theater. Wesley Dodds wearing a gas mask in the 30s shooting people. And his sidekick, Sandy Hawkins, eventually got sand-based powers. Now, right before the New 52, they did this amazing thing that I loved. And they didn't really play off with it much. Sand finally started calling himself the Sandman. And he started wearing the gas mask and the trench coat and the fedora. And he has sand-based powers. Like, he can go into the earth and he can immediately appear anywhere else on the earth.
Oh, that's cool.
He also just started developing right before the New 52 kind of foreshadowing power. He can see the future a little bit. Okay. He's dark. He's mysterious. He's the detective, which is something this team really needs because Terry is sort of a detective, but not 100%. And I think every Justice League needs a detective.
Yeah.
But the reason why he's the wild card is because his powers have gone wonky in several storylines.
Yes.
And sometimes he gets overwhelmed by these visions. But to me, having the Sandman on this team makes an interesting dynamic and a tie back to the Golden Age. He's the successor of Wesley Dodds. And I think that is an important thing because there will be several times for me, and another reason why he's the wild card, I kind of think he wouldn't take this team seriously sometimes.
I think you're probably right.
You know, and I think that they would only let him stay around because he's so immensely powerful and his future casting is a little helpful.
Definitely. Not more than a little.
And I also think that I also kind of, if you notice a little bit, I designed a little bit of this team based on look, how they would look in a group shot. And I think Sandman standing in this group is great. That's why I'm calling him the Sandman, even though most people know him as Sand as my wild card.
Great choice.
And that fills out all of our tenets, all of our criteria. Ashley, do you have any extra members?
I have 3 extra members.
Holy God. So that brings up to how many members?
10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you make up 10 members.
I have 10 Justice League members.
I think you have 3 extras?
I do.
Okay. Who, just go ahead.
Okay. I have reasons for all of them.
I want to go through all your extra members.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and then I'll tell you my 2 extra members.
Oh, I outdid you. Okay, so I really wanted to have a character who could deal with magical based.
I think you're 11 if you have 3.
I thought we had 7.
Well, we have leader, strategist, muscle, tech, rookie, space alien, outsider, and wild card.
Oh, you're right. I am at 11.
Yeah, so you have 11.
I have 11. Okay, so I really wanted a character who could contend with magical-based threats.
Interesting.
And so I picked a character who's come to prominence given her appearance on the CW shows recently, and who would bring a little bit more diversity to my team. So I want Vixen on my team.
Wow.
Because she's cool now.
Mari?
And Mari. I like Mari a lot. I mean, Zatanna and Constantine are the obvious choices.
I almost thought you were going to put Constantine on your team.
No, I would not. I have Dick Grayson on my team. I don't need John Constantine.
Oh, man.
So I think Vixen would be great.
Talk about the foxes in the hen house. Whoa.
For real, though. I do agree with you that a Justice League needs a detective.
Yes.
And I have Nightwing on here, but Nightwing is not the best detective to precede Batman.
But Nightwing's, I would argue, is the second best detective in the world.
So I put Red Robin, Tim Drake.
Oh, you have 2 Batman Robins.
I have 2 Robins on my team.
I wondered when Tim Drake was coming.
Right, you knew Tim Drake was going to be on there somewhere.
Okay.
And then my final one is another bad character.
Oh, good Lord. You might as well just call this team the Outsiders.
No, they're called Justice League International.
No, this is Justice League Outsider.
Sure, Justice League Outsider. That's fine. I think that the Justice League is at its most powerful when it has Oracle behind it.
Good choice.
So I would put Barbara Gordon as Oracle, as not your leader and not your second in command, but she's definitely a leading force on the team.
Great.
And I think that Wonder Woman would really appreciate what she does.
Nice.
So yeah, so those are my 3 additions. And who else did you stack onto your team for your 10-person Justice League?
Well, if you noticed, I do not have a Green Lantern on my team.
I did notice.
So my first extra has to be a Green Lantern. But I had to choose the best of the Green Lanterns.
You didn't want to go St. Walker?
No. I'm putting Kyle Rayner, the white/Omega Lantern, on the team.
Oh, most recent Kyle Rayner.
So this is a Kyle that can control every emotional spectrum. He's battle-hardened by the Omega War now, and he's the most powerful Kyle has ever been. And that's why that's the Kyle that I pick and put on this team. Also, Kyle, Martian Manhunter, and Wonder Woman all been on a team together before. So
yes, good call.
They all know how to operate. And then also, as a double extra final battle issue member, he would only show up until the very end. I also mentioned Rex Tyler would eventually join as Our Man. So I guess we'd be tied.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. I came up with the Rex Tyler thing as we were talking through this podcast. So, okay, we're tied for 11. I'm putting... as my final battle, for the final battle right before we figure out how to send Terry to the future, Batman, Dick Grayson.
I effing knew it. Yep. I knew you were going to put him on there.
Yeah. Not Nightwing, Batman. This is a 40-year-old Dick Grayson. Bruce Wayne is dead. and this is a alternate future Dick Grayson who has fully accepted his Batman, and he is a kick-ass Batman, and that way Dick Grayson can be on the team. But I also wanted like a final sort of moment nod with the legacy of the Trinity, also a final nod to Terry, so that when Terry goes back to the future, he kind of knows that everything's going to be okay because he gets to talk to Dick.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's what I kind of wanted to give them one last moment, and and then the Omega Lantern opens the portal and blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so that's my Justice League. So real quick, let's recap who was on our Justice Leagues. Okay. Ashley, you go first, and then I'd like to talk about like if you had any story ideas or what would this team be doing, or what do you mainly see this team facing?
Okay, so here is my team. I have Wonder Woman, Nightwing, Big Barda, Cyborg, Stargirl, Saronic Natu, Green Lantern, Booster Gold, Simon Baz, Green Lantern, Tim Drake, Red Robin, Vixen, and Oracle.
And my team, the Olympians, are Wonder Woman, Batman Beyond, Spartan from the Wildcats, Steel, Jesse Quick, Martian Manhunter, Rocket, the Sandman, Kyle Rayner, the Omega Lantern, future Batman Dick Grayson, and then lastly, Our Man. Okay, so what do you think, before we get into people that almost made it on your team, what is your Justice League, or did you have an idea of like what they? I just have like a one sentence about what
I have a very basic pitch for how this happens. So Big Barda comes to Wonder Woman because she needs a covert team to go to Apocalypse. She needs something. She needs the best of the best. That's why we have a couple different space and alien characters on here. A lot of people who can fly and a lot of strategy Batman type people. So they assemble this team because this is the team that they're going to take to Apocalypse.
Nice.
So that's kind of my basic tenet for this. And because I really like the idea of folding in the New Gods mythology because it is so weird and difficult, but so fascinating at the same time. So what is that? What is your pitch for your Justice League?
Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis arrives in the modern day, and he cannot find the two people that he knows from his future, Bruce Wayne or Clark Kent. They're completely gone, and he can't find them. So he forms this team to eventually send him back into the future. But we later find out that Superman and Batman are gone because the Damonites, the enemies of the Wildcats, are back, and they're shape-shifting, eight-eyed bastard aliens are ready to take on Earth.
Nice.
And eventually with a cameo by Ambush Bug.
Okay.
So what characters almost made it on your team, and what characters, like, are there any characters that you were like, oh, I really wanted to put them on there, but I couldn't fit them on there?
I really wanted Power Girl and or Supergirl.
Interesting.
One of the Kara Zor-Els, and I thought a long time about having them as a rookie, but again, I feel like they're both a little too established for that.
Yeah, I would give you Supergirl as your rookie. Funny thing, I almost put Superboy as my muscle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, well, I can't have Superman, so I'm just gonna put young Superman.
Yeah. I mean, like I definitely ticked off all the characters that I like. Like I thought about putting Kyle Rayner on here because he's a character that I really like.
I made Kyle Rayner my extra simply for the fact that I hadn't put him on here. But Dick Grayson again was one that I fought for a long time because, but then I was like, no, I don't. In his natural form, I don't see Dick as a member of the Justice League. I see Dick Grayson, Batman, as a member of the Justice League.
Yeah. Those were the only two that I really struggled with.
Oh, I had three more. I almost put Jaime Reyes, Blue Beetle.
I thought about putting Ted Kord on my team just to pair him up with
pair the Bwahaha. Yeah, Jaime Reyes, Blue Beetle almost made it onto my team. Katana almost made it onto my team.
I love Katana
because she's a character that I think deserves more, but I kind of think she was overpowered on my team, and she really didn't have a role.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I almost put on was Vixen. I almost put Vixen on my team as well because I really like Vixen as well.
There you go. I was trying to find reasons to include like the really weird offshoot lanterns. But I feel like if you're looking for a Justice League and what the Justice League stands for at its core, it really has to be a Green Lantern.
Yes, I agree.
Like maybe a White Lantern or maybe a Blue
almost
Lantern.
made it on my team.
Kilowog was almost my muscle.
Yeah, and he's been on a Justice League before.
Yeah.
But I kind of just don't feel that's right.
I agree. I feel like he's much better as the leader of a leading figure in the Green Lanterns.
Yeah, and I went with, again, White Lantern Kyle Rayner because I love him, but also because I kind of looked at my Justice League team as being like, look, we don't want just one Lantern Corps. We want them all.
Oh, the Lantern Corps. You got a
so
greedy Justice League. I
got a greedy Justice League. All right, cool. So everybody out there, those are our best Justice League extras evers. Why am I saying extras in there? Those are our best Justice League evers. As are our choices. We want to hear what yours are. You can do that social media where, Ashley?
You can do that at geekhistorylesson.com or facebook.com/geekhistorylesson. There's a couple different ways to hit us up in both of those places.
Yeah, and head on out there to your comic book shop, buy Justice League Rebirth and Justice League #1, which has Simon Cruz and
Simon Baz.
Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, 2 Green Lanterns, just like Ashley's team.
Woohoo!
Go out there. Guys, don't forget you can listen to this podcast every single week on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, Google Play, all kinds of other places. Ashley, we look for reviews in our iTunes, right? Because reviews on iTunes help the search algorithm of iTunes, help other people find this podcast, just like people that are listening to us right now. And we read your reviews that you leave us on iTunes, and we would ask that you do so that we can read them in a future episode. Ashley, who's our iTunes review of this week?
Our iTunes review of this week is CHMCKINN, and it is titled Knowledge Bomb with 2 exclamation points. And this person of indeterminate gender said, I get to learn so much about the history of characters that are very important to me on this show. I highly recommend any of these history lessons.
Aw, very nice.
Very nice, very succinct.
Very good. Very good. Yes. So go over to iTunes, leave us a review because it really helps this podcast out. And we're going to continue reading your reviews on the podcast. Guys, also, if you head on over to patreon.com/Jawiin, that's where you can support this show. We're going to do a Geek History Lesson Extra, which is a podcast for our Patreons that talks more in depth. We're going to talk about some of our favorite Justice League teams and some of our favorite Justice League stories. So you want to see and listen. You can't really see them. You want to listen to the stories that influenced our choices. That's where you got to go. Patreon.com/Jawiin. And of course, you can tell us how stupid we are because we didn't put Wanna Beast on either of our teams. You can do that on Twitter at Jawiin, Jawiin for me, and Ashley V. Robinson for Ashley. And you need to tell her Ambush Bug needs to be on her team. Guys, we'll see you next week. I'm Jason Inman.
I am Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And Professor Ashley, why don't we together take this podcast out into space to fight the aliens just like our Justice League teams?
Okay.
Yep. This is the Justice League in space, in space, in space, in space. I don't know where I'm going.